In the 1966 season, the Italian national team captivated fans worldwide in a unique way, writing a dramatic story at the World Cup finals held in England. With a generation of the most talented players in Italian history, they brought a solid catenaccio defensive style combined with technically gifted individual attackers. However, contrary to expectations of a championship, their journey ended after a miracle by their opponent. The unbelievable defeat against North Korea became a scar and also the beginning of a legend. They returned home amidst a shower of tomatoes at the airport. But time has proven that this golden generation laid the groundwork for the Euro 1968 Championship and the Great 1970 World Cup final. But behind those moments of glory and humiliation on the pitch were players with very individual destinies. 60 years have passed, and time has etched different marks on their lives. Some have continued to conquer new heights on the coaching bench or in politics. Some have chosen a quiet path after retirement, and some have had to end their journey in haunting tragedies. Let's look back at the tumultuous journey of the players who formed the soul of the Azzurri jersey back then. At the age of 22, Gianni Rivera was already a golden boy, a masterful artist on the pitch with a genius vision. He didn't run with his feet, but with the mind of an architect, able to see the gaps between defensive lines that ordinary people couldn't. Rivera's performances at that time, though constrained by strict tactical calculations, still exuded the grace of a genius who had strayed from the path. After the heartbreak of 1966, his career at AC Milan flourished brilliantly with the 1969 Ballon d'Or and the 1968 European Championship. Off the pitch, Rivera was an intellectual, sharp, and highly individualistic man. He wasn't content with just the glory of the football field, but also ventured into fields requiring top-level management thinking. He devoted much time to studying philosophy and social management, always maintaining a dignified and exemplary demeanor. The image of a conductor controlling the tempo on the field seems to have been reflected in his life as he transformed from a player into an influential politician in Italy and the European Parliament. He always fought for transparency and fairness, viewing politics as a game requiring honesty. Today at 82, Gianni Rivera still lives a dynamic and intellectual life. Although he no longer directly controls the passes, his every statement still carries significant weight in the world of football, inspiring younger generations with a mindset of resilience and continuous learning. At 23, Jacinto Facchetti was a rock-solid yet graceful presence on the left flank. He redefined the concept of a fullback. Not just a defender, but also a dangerous attacking force with his forward runs and goal-scoring prowess. With his ideal height and calm demeanor, he was called the gentleman of the pitch for his exceptionally noble playing style, rarely committing rough fouls. His career was a love song dedicated to Inter Milan, where he became a symbol of absolute loyalty. Off the pitch, Facchetti embodied integrity and morality. He lived an exemplary life, being a devoted husband and father, and always dedicated to social activities. After retiring from playing, he continued to contribute to football in management and later as president of Inter Milan, always fighting for clean and humane football. The image of a steadfast defender on the pitch seemed to have been reflected in his life, as he dedicated his entire life to protecting the spiritual values of the club and his family. He was a bridge between generations, always maintaining humility, even at the height of glory. However, that glorious journey came to an abrupt end. On September 4, 2006, Jacinto Facchetti passed away at the age of 64 from stomach cancer. His death left a huge void in the hearts of fans, but his legacy as a great personality remains a thought-provoking story of loyalty and integrity. At 23, Sandro Mazzola embodied great legacy and unwavering determination. bearing the illustrious surname of his father, Valentino, a legend who perished in the Superga plane crash. Sandro played football as if to continue his father's unfinished legacy. With his skillful footwork and fearsome goal-scoring ability, he was the heart of Italy's attacks at the 1966 World Cup. After the tournament, he became an icon of Inter Milan during the golden era of Grande Inter, winning countless prestigious titles. Off the field, Sandro was a profound and reserved man, always carrying the pain of losing his father, but using it as a guiding principle to rise above his circumstances. He devoted much of his time to studying economics and management, later becoming a successful sports director and a respected football commentator. He always maintained a clean lifestyle, focusing on his family and human values. The image of an intelligent player on the pitch seems to accurately reflect his true self, a man who constantly strives to overcome the shadow of the past to build his own empire. Today, at 83, Sandro Mazzola lives a lucid and insightful life. He still frequently appears on television, sharing lessons about football and life, his words continuing to inspire younger generations with his perseverance and national pride. At 23, Gigi Moroni was the most extraordinary phenomenon in Italian football at the time, hailed as the George Best of Italy. With his long hair, flamboyant fashion sense, and magical dribbling, he was the brightest star in the Azzurri attack in 1966. He didn't play football simply to win, he played to enjoy the art. Moroni lived a rebellious yet poetic life. He painted, listened to jazz, walked his chickens, and passionately loved a married woman despite social prejudices. He was a dreamer who wandered into an era of pragmatic calculations. Off the pitch, he was sensitive, compassionate, and always yearned for freedom. The image of a flamboyant artist on the pitch seemed to have become a destiny in his life, colorful yet unpredictable. He lived as if each day were the final match of his life, without calculation or fear. However, that brilliant and flamboyant journey came to a tragic end. On the night of October 15, 1967, immediately after a brilliant performance for Torino, Gigi Moroni died at the age of 24 after being hit by a car while walking. Tragically, the driver of that car was a young fan of his who, ironically, later became the president of Torino Football Club. At 25, Giacomo Bulgarelli was the heart and soul of the Italian national team's midfield, a stylish midfielder with masterful game-controlling abilities. He wasn't a flashy player, but every attacking move for the Azzurri went through him. His injury in the 1966 match against North Korea is considered the main reason for the team's collapse, a testament to his irreplaceable influence. His career is a hymn to loyalty to Bologna, where he became an enduring legend. Off the field, Giacomo was a calm, humble, and intelligent man. After retiring, he didn't choose the high-pressure coaching career, but became a talented football commentator, possessing sharp yet warm analysis of matches. He lived an exemplary life with his family, valuing friendship and sincerity more than the illusory glamour of fame. The image of a quiet, unassuming leader on the pitch perfectly matched his true personality off the field, a man who was always a solid pillar of support for those around him. However, that glorious journey of dedication came to an end. On February 12, 2009, Giacomo Bulgarelli passed away at the age of 68 due to a terminal illness. His passing left a profound sadness in the city of Bologna, where he will forever be remembered as a noble spiritual leader. At 26, Enrico Albertosi was a reliable goalkeeper with a flamboyant yet incredibly solid playing style. He possessed the reflexes of a leopard and a fierce personality, ready to yell at the defense to maintain discipline. Albertosi was the perfect contrast to the usual calm demeanor of goalkeepers at the time. After the 1966 defeat, he flourished brilliantly, helping Cagliari win the historic Scudetto and playing a key role in Italy's run to the 1970 World Cup finale. Off the field, Enrico was a lover of life, enjoying fun, excitement, and the thrill of speed. He lived a colorful life, playing at the highest level until the age of 40, a testament to his extraordinary physical strength. After retiring, he experienced ups and downs, including gambling scandals, but he rose again with great resilience, using the courage of a goalkeeper to confront past mistakes. He dedicated much of his time to charitable activities and sharing his experience with young goalkeepers. The image of a fiery warrior in goal seems to accurately reflect his fierce spirit in real life. Today, at 86, Enrico Albertosi is living a peaceful and healthy life. Although his hands can no longer block shots, the flame of passion within him still burns brightly, and he continues to watch every step of the younger generation with affectionate eyes. At the age of 27, Tarcisio Burgnic was nicknamed the Rock in the defense. He was the kind of defender that every striker feared because of his tenacious marking and incredible physical strength. He was the one tasked with marking Pelé in the 1970 World Cup final, and the king of football's praise for him became his legacy. At the 1966 World Cup, he was Italy's most reliable defensive anchor. After the tournament, Burgnic continued to achieve countless successes with Inter Milan and won Euro 1968. Off the pitch, Burgnic was a humble, quiet, but affectionate man. He lived a life of integrity, devoting himself entirely to his family and his later coaching career. He never sought fame, considering football a profession requiring dedication rather than glory. The image of a solid rock on the pitch seemed to have become ingrained in his life, making him a constant pillar of support for his wife and children through life's storms. He lived a peaceful life, far removed from the media frenzy, finding joy in the simplest things. However, that glorious and quiet journey came to an end. On May 26, 2021, Tarcisio Burgnic passed away at the age of 82 after a long illness. His death deprived Italian football of one of its greatest guardians, leaving behind a thought-provoking life story about the value of quiet dedication. At 26, Sandro Salvadore was a center-back with an elegant and intelligent playing style. He didn't rely on brute strength, but used his intellect to anticipate the ball's direction, providing absolute reassurance to the Italian defense at the 1966 World Cup. He was the great captain of Juventus, carrying within him the glorious blood of both AC Milan and Juve. Off the field, Salvador was an upright, somewhat hot-tempered but very chivalrous man, ready to fight for the rights of his teammates. After retiring from football, he chose a completely different path, leaving the spotlight to return to nature, managing a large farm in the Piedmont region. He found happiness in tending his fields and raising livestock, seeing it as a liberation from the tremendous pressures of top-level football. It seems the image of a hero protecting the goal has become ingrained in his life in his later years, as he protects the tranquility of his soul from the noisy modern world. He lived a carefree life, respected by all who worked with him. However, that journey of freedom came to an end on January 4, 2007. Sandro Salvador passed away at the age of 67 due to sudden heart failure. His death is a sad chapter for those who admired the elegant playing style of this exemplary central defender. At 23, Giovanni Lodetti was a tireless runner, the engine that energized Italy's midfield in 1966. With his dedicated playing style, he was willing to drop deep in defense and immediately surge forward to join the attack, becoming a pillar of support for artists like Rivera to shine. After the tournament, he became a legend of AC Milan with a vast collection of titles. Off the field, Liderados was an incredibly cheerful, optimistic, and sincere person. His teammates called him Basleta because of his distinctive chin and his personality that always brought laughter to the dressing room. After retiring, he became a beloved football commentator, known for his witty, practical commentary and unwavering dedication to his profession. He lived a simple life, considering his family his greatest treasure and actively participating in social activities in Milan. The image of a resilient warrior on the pitch seemed to permeate his life, helping him maintain optimism even during the most difficult periods of his health. He always lived by the philosophy, football is joy, and so should life. However, that meaningful journey, filled with laughter, has come to an end. On September 22, 2023, Giovanni Lodetti passed away at the age of 80. His passing has left a deep sense of loss for all those who love the pure soul of Italian football. At the age of 22, Roberto Rosado was nicknamed the Angelic Face for his handsome, boyish looks. But on the pitch, he was an incredibly fierce and ruthless defender. At the 1966 World Cup, he shone as a young defensive star, unafraid to clash with any formidable striker. After the tournament, he became a mainstay of AC Milan during the club's golden age. Off the pitch, Rosado was a refined gentleman, living a virtuous life and dedicating much of his time to business and youth football development after retirement. He always maintained a composed and dignified demeanor, valuing privacy and enduring family values. The contrast between his angelic appearance and his steely resolve on the pitch created a unique allure. He lived a fulfilling life, respected as a true gentleman in the world of football. However, that glorious and beautiful journey came to a halt after a long battle with illness. On June 20, 2010, Roberto Rosado passed away at the age of 66 after a long fight against cancer. His legacy is not only his titles, but also a thought-provoking life story about resilience hidden behind a gentle exterior. At 29, Paolo Barreson was a true killer with a keen ability to seize opportunities in the penalty area. He was the one who scored the precious winning goal against Chile in 1966, leaving behind the image of a passionate striker with a fiery fighting spirit. Barreson's career spanned many major clubs, where he was always loved for his selfless dedication. Off the field, Paolo was a simple man who loved a free life and always gave his all to his passion for football. After retiring, he didn't choose a life of leisure, but began pursuing a coaching career with a desire to pass on his experience to younger generations. He lived a life full of energy, always the center of attention at gatherings of former players thanks to his generous personality. The image of a hero always appearing at the right moment on the field seemed to reflect his relentless desire to contribute off the field. He will always be remembered as a man of action, a man of few words but many deeds. However, that promising and eventful journey came to a tragic and abrupt end. On April 17, 1979, Paolo Barreson died at the age of 42 in a horrific highway accident. His passing at the prime of his life left a deep and immeasurable void in Italian football. At the age of 26, Gianfranco Leoncini was likened to a gallop in the midfield of Juventus in the Italian national team. With his superb pitch coverage and abundant stamina, he was a crucial link between the defense and attack in the 1966 squad. He made his mark with dedication and disciplined play, a type of player any coach could rely on. After the tournament, he continued to be an irreplaceable pillar of Juventus, helping the team win valuable Scudetto titles. Off the field, Leoncini was a family man, living a modest, private life, avoiding the glitz and glamour of the media. After retiring, he chose a quiet life in a peaceful countryside, dedicating time to personal hobbies and living harmoniously with the community. He always maintained a calm spirit, viewing football as a beautiful part of the past, but always cherishing the simple present. The image of a resilient warrior on the football field seemed to have become synonymous with his life, helping him live a stable and happy life. However, that quiet journey had to come to an end. On April 5, 2019, Gianfranco Leoncini passed away at the age of 79. His passing left a deep sense of loss for those who admired the dedication and noble character of a loyal bodyguard. At the age of 23, Antonio Giuliano was the greatest icon of Napoli in the pre-Maradona era, a stylish midfielder with masterful playmaking abilities. Although he didn't play a single minute at the 1966 World Cup, his presence and spirit were always a solid foundation for his teammates in the dressing room. After the tournament, he became captain, leading Napoli through glorious years and winning the 1968 European Championship with the national team. Off the field, Giuliano was a man of great intellect and dedication. After retiring, he became a brilliant sporting director for Napoli and played a major role in bringing Diego Maradona to Naples, forever changing the club's history. He lived a vibrant life, always fighting for the development of football in southern Italy, a region still facing many challenges. The image of an architect on the pitch became reflected in his life as he created historical miracles for his hometown club. He was revered as an uncrowned king, the embodiment of national pride. However, that glorious journey of dedication came to an end. On December 3, 2023, Antonio Giuliano passed away at the age of 80. His passing left a deep sadness throughout the city of Naples, marking the end of a life dedicated entirely to football in his homeland.